Dear Christian, dear colleagues, very good morning to all of you. It is really indeed a great honor to come here to share with you some of my thoughts and reflections based on our work. Yesterday, I was in Brussels to meet the new members of the Commission, the Polish government, their ministers, to talk about the next months to come. And today, I would like to talk about one subject, which I believe is a subject which needs urgent attention of many European, if not all European countries and the European Commission, which is the fact that I believe European industry, or manufacturing more specifically, is entering a period of make or break. And this could have significant consequences for European economy, Europe's weight in the international foreign affairs, and Europe's security. So I would like to tell you why I think we are at this rather critical stage, and what needs to be done, what could be done, approaching from the perspective of energy. But before going there, since this is a French audience, I would like to make three historical observations, reference, which brought us to the rather difficult situation we are today and some framework conditions. Number one, dear colleagues, in the last 2 decades or so, there is a big reshuffle of the relative economic power of the countries in the world. And therefore, the decisions made in the emerging powers had huge impact. I give you one number, which I find myself, when I look at it, double check, triple check, very striking. In the year 2000, which means yesterday, French economy, the size of the French economy, or GDP, let's say, was equal to the Chinese economy plus Indian economy. It was only year 2000. And today, only the Chinese economy is 6 times bigger than the French economy. And this happened only in the 2.5 decades. This has huge implications for energy and beyond. This is one historical observation. Second, coming to energy, some of you know we publish every year World Energy Outlook. When we publish it recently, when we look at the numbers, I couldn't stop myself saying the change in the period in the energy system. Industrial Revolution, mid-18th century, was the beginning of the age of coal. Remember the coal mines, coal workers, and the issues related to that. I mean, I told in Belgium, the germinal of Émile Zola. Think about all these pictures in front of our eyes. Age of coal, which was replaced by where we are now, age of oil and gas. We use oil and gas, and we will use oil and gas in the future as well. But at the same time, as we have announced, looking at the numbers, we are entering the age of electricity. Numbers are very clear. In the last 10 years, ladies and gentlemen, global energy demand, total energy demand increased very strongly, but global electricity demand increased 2 times higher than the global energy demand. And looking at the next 10 years, with a very conservative assumption, global electricity demand will increase 6 times higher than the global energy demand, because economy is being electrified. What are the drivers of that? Why electricity demand is growing so strongly around the world? The first one is, many of us may think it is a surprise, but this is the number. Today, the main driver of global electricity demand growth is the rapid increase of air conditioners around the world. In the United States and in Japan, 90% of the households, they have an air conditioner. In Nigeria, it is 5%. Indonesia, 18%. India, 20%. With the increasing income levels and with the increasing temperatures, people are buying air conditioners around the world in a very rapid pace, and this is the #1 driver of the electric demand growth around the world. Number 2, many of you know aware, huge penetration of electric cars. 4 years ago, 1 out of 25 cars sold was electric, 1 out of 25. And this year, 1 out of 5 cars sold is electric. And we are going very soon, every second car to be an electric car. This is the second driver. And the third one is the artificial intelligence and the data centers. They also need huge amount of electricity. The other day, we organized a major conference at the IEA, the AI and Energy, brought all the technology companies, the Googles, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Infosys, all of them, and the energy companies. Many thanks to Luc Ramon being there, and as well as other companies here. And we heard one thing from the major request from all these $1 trillion technology companies: we need energy. I said, maybe you want to say we need electricity. Yes, they need electricity. Electricity in most of the time in an uninterrupted way. So this is the second, perhaps a historical dimension, that we are entering an age of electricity. Again, we need oil and gas years to come. And the third historical reference I would like to make is on Europe. You may find it a bit blunt, what I'm going to say, but I am saying this almost in different contexts, in different places all the time. Namely, dear colleagues, I believe in European energy policy, we made 3 historical strategic mistakes. So error cardinal, big mistakes. And this is now preparing the situation, or preparing the basis for the situation we are in. Number 1, over-reliance of one single strategic commodity on one single country. Natural gas and Russia. The magic word in the energy sector is, in my view, diversification. And Europe, many countries in Europe, built their economic model based on rather cheap Russian gas and this was a major mistake. And IEA warned the countries. 20 years ago, look at the 2004 Financial Times, there is a headline which was very daring. At that time, we had a chief economist, and he said that Germany should not increase its reliance on Russian gas and diversify. At that time, people thought this would never be a problem, but this became a big problem. This is the number one historical mistake. Number two, another historical mistake, in my view, is nuclear power. 20 years ago, about 30%, almost one-third of the European electricity came from nuclear power. But as a result of in my view, wrong policies, namely phasing out, not extending the lifetime, not building new nuclear power plants, this 30% in a few years is coming to 15%, halving. It is the second big mistake, historical mistake. The third one is on solar. Dear colleagues, this year, around the world, we have all the numbers at the IEA. All the numbers. Of all the power plants installed in the world this year, 60% of all power plants only is solar PV. I'm not saying renewables, only solar. Now, and China today manufactures 80% of the solar panels. But coming to Europe, 20 years ago, Europe was the leader in solar PV manufacturing. Lots of subsidies, Europe started, but after a while, Europe dropped the ball, and China took it over. And today, Europe has to think Chinese buying the Chinese solar PVs, and not only Europe, but the entire world, because China is dominating. So these three, in my view, historical mistakes of Europe in energy, namely over-reliance on one single fuel, on one single country, turning back back to nuclear power, and missing the solar technology is critical. So these three historical references, and today, where are we? Dear colleagues, today, when I look at Europe, European energy and economy, we have many, many, many challenges. But I see three of them, big ones. Number one, cost of energy prices. Today, natural gas prices in Europe is 5 times higher than those in the United States. And electricity prices in Europe is 3 times higher than China. How the European manufacturers, especially those who have the energy cost, an important part of the overall cost, can compete with the other countries. Cost of energy is a big, big, big challenge. Second challenge, for tomorrow's industry, clean, modern technologies, solar PVs, batteries, wind, electrolyzers, Europe is significantly behind of many other economic powers, such as China, such as the United States, and in some cases, even India and other countries. So this is the second challenge I see in front of us. And third comes from the Europe's nature of being a European Union, difficulty of having a clear strategy and being nimble and implement those, how we are built. So these three challenges, high cost of energy, being behind for the tomorrow's industry than other economic powers, and how we are governed, is a key challenges for European economy, and it is the reason I believe Europe, it is the high time Europe urgently needs, looking at these issues, needs to come up with a new industry master plan. And this master plan, in my view, should have, very simply, 3 legs. Number one, with our existing legacy industries, iron, steel, petrochemicals, aluminium, how we are going to support those and bridge the cost gap between them and their competitors. Maybe we shouldn't look at all of them, we should look at some of them where we can have the chance them to survive and to compete. We have to look at the legacy existing industries, which is the backbone of our economy today and backbone of our employment today. What are we going to do with them? This is number one. Number two, for tomorrow's technologies, looking at Europe's competitive advantages, in which of the tomorrow's technologies Europe can have a competitive edge. Some of them, we don't have the chance anymore. It's passé. Finished. We cannot go there. But there are some of them, such as the wind turbines, offshore wind turbines, such as the electrolyzers, such as the grids, transformers, such as the heat pumps, batteries in some cases. We have to look those technology and the clean energy supply chains where Europe can have a chance to compete with the others, where we are strong. We can't go everywhere. This is the second part of the new, in my view, an industry master plan. And third one is the European trade policies. Europe is a trade continent. For our economy, trade is extremely important. But in my view, there may be a need to have a more muscular trade policy of Europe. Maybe Europe is a bit too naive in certain cases, and there may be a merit in a careful way being more muscular in our trade policies, working together with our partners and allies. So this is the new industry master plan. Need to look at the existing industries, how we make them survive, tomorrow's technologies, where we concentrate, how we support them, and the trade policies should support them. Dear colleagues, I would like to finish with some, I would say, some optimistic remarks after all of this, what I said about Europe. Now, I travel around the world. I can tell you, even those countries I mentioned, who are the strong economic powers everywhere, Europe, dear colleagues, is still the source of inspiration around the world for hundreds of millions of people, with its democratic values, with its humanitarian values, with its cultural values. Europe has a population over 500 million, one of the largest economies, a single market, huge know-how, and lots of technological advantages. But Europe needs to have in my view, most important, have a clear strategy and unified. When we have a clear strategy in Europe, when we are unified, we can make a lot of victories, and we did. I give you 2 examples. Our achievements. 24th of February, 2 years ago, when Russia invaded Ukraine and when the energy was cut, some people thought Europeans would freeze and European economy would collapse. But Europe had a plan, which was prepared by the IEA, and Europe followed that plan, and we got some bruise economically, but European economy didn't collapse and Europeans didn't freeze. I think it was a very successful achievement for European countries when we unite together. The second example I would like to give you is the COVID-19. After COVID-19, while the many countries were confused what to do and how to do, Europe had a good policy, strategy, and brought everybody together and provided vaccines to its hundreds of millions of citizens and beyond. This is another example. So in that context, we have a huge challenge, in my view, in Europe. And if we are not able to keep our industry, manufacturing strong, we may well have to pay the cost in terms of losing economic power, losing Europe's relevance in the international affairs, losing a lot of employment, and their social and, in my view, unwanted political consequences will be with us. But I have the hope that Europe will come, build a new industrial master plan, a realistic one, and as such, European economy will remain strong, and Europe still going to be as a democratic continent, as a democratic group of countries, will be one of the leaders of the global affairs. Thank you very much for your attention.